So do you think, so from all the incidents that happened over the weekend, do you think that all of those 5 red cards were warranted?
Yeah, I think pretty much sure. You know, that there's 1 or 2 of them which are clear, nailed on, reckless, straightforward red cards. There's probably another 1 or 2 where you're thinking, well, I understand what the player's trying to do here, and he's got it wrong. But because he's got it wrong, because he was already doing an illegal action, and then whatever happened then before him, he was unable to adapt or change that action, it's resulted in him having a correct red card. So a couple of them are pretty straightforward red cards. The others, I think, well, yeah, I can understand why the player's got this wrong, but at the end of the day, it is a red card. So yeah, I don't think you can have any arguments really over the red cards that were given. And these 2 boys won't like it, but I don't think you can have much argument over the 2 red cards in the Six Nations.
I can have an argument with you about it, Nigel.
Disgraceful.
I don't know. Did they see the one? What's the big fella's name? Leidenberg? Was he a 6 or the lock for Leicester? I don't think he's looking at Josh Bassett. If that's his name, I don't think he's looking at him at all. I think he's watching the ball the whole time, and literally Bassett has jumped bloody high, and as he's taken his eyes from the ball, he's realised, shit, he's jumped and he's right in front of me, and he's gone to protect himself. I genuinely don't think he's attempted to tackle that guy at all. The ball even goes over the top of Bassett, but it was the way the referee. It almost sounded like, listen, I'll be careful here, but like there was 2 reds already. Oh, this will really mix it up and we chuck another red in. And I don't think it should have been a red. I really don't think it should have been a red.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Zeebs, you probably because you know,
it's so
for you guys who get up in the air, it's dangerous, isn't it?
Incredibly dangerous. You know, 1 half rotation and he could land on your neck. You know, it's incredibly dangerous. I agree. I thought it was a red card. But I was going to ask, do you think there's any leeway around bringing somebody else on after, you know, a red card without intent, malice intent, I suppose, how to put it?
Yeah, well, Nigel, this actually, I do have, so we have been discussing this on the pod for the last few weeks, and we've come up with the idea of an orange card. So Ryan, do you want to take Nigel through what we have suggested and see what he thinks?
The amber card, Nigel, this is it. Like, we've solved it. We've solved all the issues in rugby. Amber card, if it's a professional foul, like something like what your man did, jump in and they say, look, you didn't mean to do it, or one of these ones where a player's carrying in and they drop to carry the ball and they clock someone's shoulder, right, shoulder to head contact, sorry, red card to the player, but he was dropping, it wasn't my fault, sir. There you are, there's your amber card, 20 minutes off, bring someone else on. Punching, all the dangerous stuff, which I'm against. The punching, the eye gouging, the biting, all the stuff that Dylan Hartley does.
Yes, on a regular basis, every week.
Yeah, all the stuff that Dylan does, red, get off the pitch. All the stuff that I do, accidental things, or the clumsy blokes, amber, 20 minutes off, bring someone else on, 15 aside, doesn't ruin an international match.
If you were living in a glass house, there'd be no pains left there. I think it's got a value point around a good discussion about it. There's 2 points I would bring up here to think about. Is the first one is, if it really is one of those which doesn't really merit, or it's a very unlucky, or does it deserve to be a red card, then should it be a red card? For a red card is the ones which, you know, it's nailed on, it's red, you're gone. So if you go one where you're thinking, and we've had this in games in the past, it's one of those orange ones where it's in between. Some refs will be thinking that's a yellow to me, and some will be thinking red, and that's what a lot of players and a lot of public would think. It's a split decision. So on those ones, if it's not a really nailed on red, then you're going to ask yourself, well, why am I giving a red then if it's one of these that is not really nailed on a red? So that's the first point. The only worry I would have, particularly with and substitutions and amount of substitutions, is another situation, a scenario which I think should be reduced, but that's a different topic. With a squad of 23, what you want, I think, one of the biggest deterrents to stop players giving a red card is one, player safety, getting them to understand the danger they put themselves or opposition players in. And also as well, the fact that your coach is going to be drumming into you, was we're not going to win games with down to 14 men. We've seen it in the Six Nations, you know, whether Wales will go on to win, who knows? But, you know, we were lucky against Ireland. down to 14 men. I thought against Scotland, Ryan may disagree with this, I thought against Scotland we were starting to get control of the game up front around that period of time anyway, but that's a different discussion. No. So a deterrent of a red card plays a huge part in players' behaviour and change of behaviour. And I just wonder, if you do bring in an orange card where that player can be replaced, is that then taking away a deterrent of, look lads, there's no way you want to play this game with 14 men. Does that mean, well, if we do get a player sent off, we're going to be back to 15 players in 20 minutes. Will that play a part maybe in preventing this type of action that we want to get out of the game? And that's the only question and maybe thing I think we need to discuss and think about before everybody says, jumps on the bandwagon, yes, let's go for an orange card, because it does maybe take away then the fact of, look, a bit more. It's a little bit like the TMO. When you didn't have the TMO, you had to make damn sure you were in the position to make the right decision. A little bit like the guy walking in the circus on the tightrope. If you're walking across that tightrope in the circus and you haven't got the safety net, the TMO underneath you, you're going to make damn sure you're going to be focused and you're going to get to the other side. If you put that safety net of the TMO underneath you, I don't really care if I fall here because I've got a safety net to save me. That then takes away the edge of you refereeing, which I believe is happening a lot now with the TMO, because they know, don't worry if we miss something, we can go and check it. That takes away the little bit of edge you need, I think. So there are a couple of things. It's a value point you're bringing up, and it's one that's certainly worth a discussion around. But I think there are other points that need to come part of the equation as well.
Where did Ryan, where did Jamie say that this has been trialled? Because it has been trialled somewhere in some league.
I think they're about to trial it in the MLR, is what I've heard. The amber card in the MLR. Yeah.
I think it's trialling in Super Rugby now as well, isn't it? In Aotearoa in New Zealand, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Same as the captain's challenge for the referee as well. That's being trialled in the Super Rugby Aotearoa in New Zealand as well.
They heard the amber thing on the podcast and then trialled it, apparently.
Yeah,
well,
we're really annoyed at that.
I hope you got a copyright for all those amber cards. You'll make a fortune.
Tell me about it.
And the only thing is here, and I don't want to, I'm not saying that this will happen, but is there a danger then maybe, and again, this is me thinking as a referee as well, is there a danger if you do have the amber card, will a referee then think, I'll give an orange here because I don't want to give the controversy? I'm saying the referee won't want to give a red card, but is it an easier option? I'll give an orange here, safer bet than giving a red. You have to think about that as well.
Xander Fagerson last week, amber card.
I don't know.
The problem I have with that, Ryan, is and I have all sympathy with players going in to clean out and move people, because if you're not there quick enough to clear out immediately and you're busting the get to get there, you're going to get there at speed. So I understand that. The only issue I had with Xander Ferguson was that his arm was tucked down by his side here, and he went in with his shoulder with his arm behind him. Then you're always illegal. It's a little bit like if you're going down the street doing 40 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone, and somebody runs out in front of you last minute, it doesn't matter how late they run out in front of you. It was unavoidable for you. You couldn't avoid hitting them. You haven't got a leg to stand on because you were doing 40 miles an hour, which you shouldn't have been doing. If you're going down that street doing 30 miles an hour and somebody runs out in front of you and you couldn't do nothing to avoid it, then you're not at fault because you were doing everything legal. Now, again, if you're driving down doing 30 and you're looking out the window when you're driving the car, you're not concentrating in front of you, then again, you're doing a legal action, which has caused a collision or may have stopped you preventing the collision. So the only thing with Xander Ferguson is he goes in with his shoulder leading like this, and then it's irrelevant then what the action of Wyn Jones is. Now, Wyn Jones does slightly move up the last minute, and if Xander Ferguson would have come in to make a legal clear out, so his hands are here ready to
you reckon he would have got away with it?
There could have been then a case where there's no foul play here. A guy has come in to make a legal clear out. There was nothing he could do because Wyn Jones stepped up split second before him. Nothing Xander Ferguson could have done to avoid that. then the referees were thinking, well, is there foul play here? No, there isn't. Play on. Or they could have been, well, there is foul play. He has hit him in the head, but there are mitigation circumstances here, so it's a penalty or a yellow. But because Under Ferguson was completely illegal always, then he has no defence then. He's committed an illegal act, so mitigation plays no part for it. And because of that reason, then to me, it's a red card. But if he'd have come in legally to clear out, which we just spoke about earlier on, then he wouldn't have been at fault.
This is why he's a ref.
Spot on, Nigel. Spot on.
This is why
Did you hear that, Nigel? Or did you hear that, Ryan?
What was
Tell
that?
you what, no, but see see the 30-mile-an-hour thing, Christina? Nigel will give you that on the pitch, and he'll explain it for about 2.5 minutes halfway through a game. Right.
He just knew you were out of breath, and he was just giving you a chance to catch your breath again.
And then explain it all, and then at the end you're like, yeah, all right, yeah. You'd be a bloody good salesman, Nigel, tell you that. A bloody good salesman.